like this. So what are the Porcus modules? As the name implies, it's Latin. It's for pigs only. The standards are high cube modules, as we call it. So these are suitable for a high cube sea container, either 20 or 40 foot. All can be moved on a regular truck on a train. This makes it easy to transport all over the world. They come in both biological and chemical versions. And they are composed of 1 up to 3 modules and 1 up to 13 sections. So we have master modules, which contain all the technology, 1 to 4 sections. Then either 1 or 2 extensions can be added with each 1 up to 4.5 sections. The sections are 2.4 by 2.1 meters. We have 3 versions actually. It's 3 times 400 volt 50 Hertz, 400 volt 60 Hertz, and 3 times 200 volt 60 Hertz. And with this we can cover up over 95% of the world for the electrical requirements. The module contains a technical room about 1.5 meters wide, which you can walk in, and with all the technology plug and play already pre-mounted. It has a separate lighting connection, 200 to 230 volts, which need to be connected. It is separate to make sure that when there is a power failure or when the controller has to be shut down for maintenance, that there is light there to work with. Very important, we have no acid or lye room available in the scrubber, so this must be provided externally. So by the customer needs to build a shed or a house for the acid and the lye. The pipework for the supply and the return water for extensions is supplied separately, so it's included, but you have to connect it on site. We also have a hose for cleaning inside the module on top of the package. And what we have is a data logger with an internet connection, if wanted. This also provides the data which can be shown to the government or the people who want this. And it's also possible for Big Dutchman and ourselves to log in remotely and to see how the scrubber is running and to provide remote assistance to possible mechanics that are on site and have a problem. So this is actually one recently built for Big Dutchman in a project in Lithuania. On the left, you can see the air scrubber with the door to the technical room standing open. So that's where you can walk in for all the technology. We have a hoisting belt. It's a yellow belt you can see that's provided. And that's simply to pull the air scrubber out of the container on location. In the middle, we see our global control. This is a really simple version with on top a small PLC controller with the values for the pH, the pressure difference and the conductivity. And then a set of lights and some switches which are numbered. So that means a local dealer can provide a sticker with the descriptions for it in the local language. On the right side, you can see that this is a module with up to 2 extensions. So the pipe on the right is for the master module and the ones in the middle and the left are each for an extension module. And they are outfitted with valves and pressure gauges to make sure we can regulate the correct flow and pressure to all the extension modules. So this is all prefabricated and delivered to you as shown. And this is a small picture of what the technical room looks like without the walls. So you can see the door on the right side, you have the controller on the left, and then the pump on the bottom, and everything is pre-installed as you see it. So what are the Porcus versions? We have a biological one. And as stated before, it's based on a Dutch PWL certificate. It's called the 2008.01. So the specifications, we have the package, we call it FKP 327. And this is the same package we use for all our air scrubbers for the exports, both chemical, biological and for manure. The packet for biological is 90 centimeters thick, and we have a drip catcher that's 12.5 centimeters thick. As stated before, pH range 6.5 to 7.2, which is stabilized, and also the stable range around 7 to make sure the biological processes remain stable. We drain off at 20 millisiemens, that is the nitrogen content. As stated before, around 2.8 kilograms per cubic meter. Very important to select the right fans, we have a maximum counter pressure of 65 pascals over the air scrubber. So that means the fans should be able to compensate for these 65 pascals. And the water that goes over the package is about 1 cubic meter per square meter of package each hour. Acid and caustic soda pumps with a maximum of 15 meters of all accessories, that's tubes, hoses, cables, and also emergency supplies like a shower and a cupboard with safety equipment are all included. They only have to need mounted on site. On the right side, we see the reductions. The standard version is what we prefer to deliver. It has a maximum specific load of 3,600 cubic meters per square meters per hour. That means each square meter of filter package has a maximum ventilation rate of 3,600 cubic meters of air. Reductions, ammonia 70%, odour 45%, and particulate matter, dust 60%. And what we have is an upgraded version, which is basically exactly the same air scrubber, only the ventilation rate is lower. So the specific load is 2,250 cubic meters per square meter per hour. So for each square meter of package, only 2,250 cubic meters of air can be ventilated through it. That means the air scrubber is about 60% bigger. So be careful if you promote this, because the air scrubber is bigger, but the thing we note in other countries is that the ventilation rates are much higher. So it's usually almost impossible to fit this to a normal house. But ammonia goes up to 85% reduction, odor 45 to 75, and the dust up to 70%. What's important for the biological system is that we spec these reductions, as you can see on the left bottom, at maximum 800 odor units per cubic meter and maximum 25 ppm of ammonia going into the scrubber. The rates for ammonia and odor in livestock houses are very strongly dependent on house management, manure management, and feed type. So that means if there is a feed type with a high sulfur content, this also means that there are very high odor levels with components that are very difficult to remove. And what we've also seen is liquid feeding, in many cases, has shown higher odor levels out of the house. That means the reduction levels are dependent on what goes into the scrubber. So the reductions we show is for regular maintained houses based on German and Dutch standards. And that means that if you have a farm with very bad management and bad feed that produce extreme levels of ammonia and odor, we can't guarantee these reductions. So these are basically for a nicely maintained farm with regular feed. The chemical version of the Porcus is based on also the Dutch BWL certificates 2005-01 and 2013-08. There's the same package, but only 60 centimeters thick. The drip catcher for chemical systems is 25 centimeters thick, that's twice. And it's basically to make sure that the salts and especially the acid remain inside the air scrubber and doesn't get onto the buildings that are around it. We drain at about 180 millisiemens. That's about almost 10 times as high as the 20 millisiemens for the biological one. A maximum counter pressure of 80 pascals, which is a bit higher because of the higher ventilation rates. Water distribution is the same. And what we have is a maximum specific load of 4,884 cubic meters per square meter. So also each square meter of package can have a maximum ventilation rate of 4,884 cubic meters of air, which is a bit higher than the 3,600 of the biological one. Same here, acid pump, maximum 15 meters of accessories are supplied. Also all the safety equipment is supplied, but it needs to be installed on site in a separate building. So on the right side, we have the reductions for the standard version. That's the BWL 2005-01. pH level is 4, ammonia reduction 70%, odor reduction 30%, and particulate matter about 35%. And we have an upgraded version, which is the 2013-08, which has a pH of 3, ammonia level 90%, and odor and particulate matter are the same. These air scrubbers are exactly the same. The only difference is that the pH set point is set to 3 instead of 4. Therefore, the ammonia reduction rate is increased, but that also means the acid consumption and the wastewater production are about 30% higher because more ammonia is taken out of the air.